Hi class, I wanted to talk just a little bit today about responses. When you're giving responses to your classmates, you really want to work on giving useful feedback. So I know that, the instinct is kind of to say, hey John, you did a great job, this looks really good, I thought this was really interesting, I like your topic, when you said this or that, I was interested in that. And that is not really super helpful or useful. We refer to that as an attaboy. We don't really want to see a lot of attaboys. We don't want to see you go, yay, good job. Your classmates can't use that, and it doesn't really give anything to interact with, and it doesn't show that you are learning anything or understanding something. So when you're in a writing class, you really want to focus on the writing, not on the content, because in say 110 and 101 in these classes, the content is really, it doesn't really matter. No matter what you're writing about, what we're focusing on is how you write. So if you're giving feedback on a three-part thesis statement, if you say, well, it's really interesting what you said about housing and the housing market, your classmate can't really use that. And it's not showing me when I'm grading that you understand the assignment or how to write a thesis statement or anything like that. So you want to focus on, say, if you're doing a thesis statement, say, we were supposed to have three-part thesis statement. I don't see three parts here. What would be your three main points? And I know that this is uncomfortable. I've been teaching a long time now, but I still remember when I first started teaching how uncomfortable that was to kind of critique and criticize people's writing and their work, and that is kind of an uncomfortable thing. So getting used to it is hard, but it's very beneficial to you and your own writing, because it's often easier to see what's wrong in someone else's writing than to see it in yours. But once you see it, you can see it in your own writing. So if you're reading through a whole bunch of replies on the forum, looking for, the roadmap or the essay map, for the argument and the three main points in a thesis. Now, this is true no matter what. The topic is not just the thesis, but I'm using that as an example. So if you're looking for these things, all of these aspects, to see if the assignment has all of these aspects, if you're looking, at somebody's paper and you're looking to see if they did this, 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 and this, all the correct things, you're going to be able to pick out those things easier in your own paper. I will tell you 100%, hands down, no doubt, that I learned more about writing and I learned more about grammar my first 8 weeks of teaching than I did in all of college and all of graduate school. I learned a lot, and I learned a ton about literature and things like that. But you learn so much more about writing when you look for mistakes in writing than just when you write or read about your own mistakes. So now this video, like many of my videos, you can actually really use this advice in other classes. When you are responding in any of your classes, focus on what the assignment called for and on responding to that. So in a lot of other classes, if you're in a literature class, you're in a science class, you're in a Homeland Security class, it's going to be about the content of what the person wrote. So you want to really focus on that there. Whereas in a writing class, you don't want to focus on the content as much as the writing. But the point is, whatever the assignment calls for, whatever the instructions are, take a look at the rubric. That's what you want to focus on when you're giving feedback. You want to give thorough and useful feedback. Now, a lot of the classes are moving away from having a minimum word count. This doesn't mean that you should post 10 or 20 words of feedback. If you watch my video on exceeding the minimum, your teacher is looking for you to really engage in a conversation. We don't want to have to tell you, you have to write this many words, because it's kind of arbitrary to say, you have to write this many words, because we don't know exactly what you can communicate in how many words. But you really want the teacher to look at your feedback and see that there's a good quantity as well as quality of feedback when we're grading. You want to ask questions and engage in discussion, kind of see if you can get a back and forth going with your classmate. And like I said, you really want to focus on what the requirements of the assignment were and not, a lot of filler, because we noticed that. So when you're giving feedback, I know it's hard for a lot of you, and a lot of you are probably looking like, I don't know how to do this, or am I being a jerk if I tell them they did it wrong, or do I even know if they did it wrong? And I know that lack of confidence in your ability is one of the major reasons why students don't like to give feedback to other students. So you can even say, you know, I'm not 100% sure about this. You know, I was looking, you know, at the instructions, and I know the instructions said, you know, highlight 3 main points. And I think I did it right. I tried to do it right, and I'm not sure if you did it right here because I can't tell what your 3 main points are. In an essay overall, I would tell you don't express lack of confidence, but if you need to, when you're giving feedback to your classmates, I'm sorry, I have a little cold and I'm just sucking on a cough drop because I started coughing, had to pause the video. If you need to express your lack of confidence when you're giving feedback, because you feel like you don't have the authority to give the proper feedback or to critique somebody's writing, you know, I would say in that context it's okay. Largely, you want to kind of express more confidence. It makes you come across as a better writer if you come across as a confident writer. But when you're giving feedback, if you feel the need to say, look, maybe I'm not right about this, but my understanding of the assignment is this is what we were supposed to do, and I'm not seeing where you did that, because that's useful to your classmate. If you tell your classmate, hey, you're missing this in the assignment, they can use that. They can go back, they can add it, they can try, you know, to revise their work and post a new, you know, maybe post a response with it or whatever it is, or just use it for the future. But if you just say, hey, good job, when you notice that they're missing something, you're not really helping them. So you're not helping yourself, because you should be looking for this and you should be working on building your confidence in writing while you're in this class. So, you know, my main point with the feedback is give specific, useful, and thorough feedback. Look at the assignment, look at the instructions, look at the rubric, and ask yourself if your classmate did these things and met these points, and then give them feedback based on that. So, you know, avoid a lot of the good jobs and whatever's, you know, like that. Just focus on, you know, the real meat of the assignment. If you have any questions, I'm always around. Just email me or IM me through the class.